Let's get into a little trade deadline discussion, shall we? We'll start with a team that I think will be incredibly popular no matter what they say. Mike Elias was on MLB Network Radio the other day and said that he will not be, quote, blowing up the team at the trade deadline. I mean, no crap. They're not selling away the core players. We get that. But he said players on expiring contracts are at the top of the list. He will be passive about trading other players. This is Jacob Calvin-Meyer, who covers the team every day. Great on FT when he's on with us, giving us a little summary of what went down. He said, this is Elias now, quote, we think we're going to be very good again in 2026. I mean, I don't disagree with anything he said there. Okay, not trading the core, got it. Trading away guys that are going to be free agents after this year, and maybe guys that are going to be free agents after 26, we'll see. And then he thinks they're going to be good. Yep, all makes sense. In 26, he thinks they're going to be good.
They blew it, man. They blew it a couple of years ago with everybody they had prospects-wise. We've talked about this. I'm sick of talking about it.
I know. But now what's the next step is they actually have a lot of guys that they can trade away right now. I was on Baltimore radio the other day, and they wanted to know how far it goes. Like some of them, the hosts on the show, were like, I think they should trade Felix Bautista. And I'm like, yeah, Felix Bautista costs almost nothing right now. He's one of the best relievers in the sport. He's the closer of a team that you think is going to be good next year, and he's under control for at least 2 more years after this year, as far as I know, Lance. Why would you trade him? It's not like you find those guys on trees, and if you're getting them in free agency, they're rarely available even in free agency, and when they are, it costs a ton of money. So I'm like, is there a prospect package that even makes sense for him?
No, definitely not. Especially if you're competing next year, you can't lose that from your bullpen. I think it was pretty obvious. Hey, we're going to trade away with expiring contracts. You do that. You get some, pitching depth, maybe some starter depth, and then you figure out what you got to do next off season to get some aces and to go with your young guys, and then you hope for some, health. To be honest with you, I mean, they had a weird year. And then, their free agent signings didn't work out. So regroup, trade the guys that are on expiring contracts, get as much as you can, and then let that core go to work next year with a good offseason.
You're keeping Felix Bautista, no?
Yeah.
100.
How is that even? I'm like anyone that's in Baltimore that's thinking with that mindset is drinking too much of the prospect 5-year plan Kool-Aid.
Gatorade,
your time is now. I mean, not this year, but your time's 26 again.
Yeah. Could they be great? Yeah, but I don't know. The way their trajectory, I don't understand how they're not great. It's just, their brass needs to figure it out, man.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's a bad winner, man.
Yeah, they've had injuries. That's a great call.
Bad winner.
But they've also had some injuries that are starters, which sucks too as well. So they didn't do anything.
Well, they did things. They just did the wrong things.
That's I don't know. They didn't do anything good.
Right. They banked on the starters they had.
Scott knows this. I said in the beginning of the year, they're not going to make the playoffs. I said they don't do anything right from the brass perspective. I'm not blaming the players. I'm blaming the people up top.
Transactions they missed. Yeah. They've done a nice job drafting and developing. But so basically from what he said, it's the Cedric Mullins, Ryan O'Hearn, Sir Anthony Dominguez, Gregory Soto. These are all guys that I think are free agents after this year. Those types of players make sense. For me, Ramon Laureano does have an option for next year, but I would think, you're catching him when his stock's at its highest. You want to make a case on him, okay. You can find someone like that. I don't think you're finding a Felix Bautista that easily. So to me, if you're doing that, you're resetting the trajectory. I know it's one player, but that's eliminating an inning for you throughout a season and in the playoffs. Because the other thing, Lance, is that they haven't won a playoff game during this run. So again, if you're good next year, you better not get to a point where you're looking for high leverage bullpen help and you're blowing games late because you traded Felix Bautista. They traded Brian Baker, who was more of a, late bloomer, great story. They were able to get him right? And then moved him to the Rays with multiple years of team control. For me, I'm not even doing that. Like, how it is. Like, some teams are really good at finding and developing bullpen guys. And then for me, I know that it's volatile, but like sometimes guys click in the right place and they can be really valuable for like a 3 to 5 year period, like in their prime for you. So I'm holding on to all of that if I'm a contender. I'm not trading that away.
No, I'm with you. If you have team control beyond next year, you don't get rid of them with what they have. And then you figure out, get as much as you can for anybody who you don't see being there next year. It's going to be a free agent. And then you got to go all in next offseason. You got to go get the arms. You kind of look at what Houston did years ago when they went and got Cole, Verlander, all that. It's time for them to go all in and spend some money and make sure you lock up that young core too, because those guys are starting to trickle into where they're going to make some money. And if you don't have them locked in, then you're doing all this for nothing, and then you're looking at a full retool again. So it's time for them to go for sure. And like you said, I think they missed the boat this offseason with that core. They should have had a little different did a different go at it, especially with their starters.
Time for a quickie break. Todd Father and I are going to tell you about Huel, but it's mostly going to be Todd Father because I'm going to take a sip.
Well, we're talking about Huel, 27 vitamins and minerals. It's a complete meal. Let's listen. We all have busy schedules. As Scott's sipping it down, it looks delicious. It tastes delicious. When we're on the run, we need something to eat quick. And guess what? Huel is there, all different flavors. Scotty loves them. I love them. And I love how variety packed it is, and we can eat them any time of the day.
That's right. Yeah, check out the website. There's bars. There are so many different flavors. I love the black edition. Chocolate, 35 grams of protein. There's strawberry shortcake, coffee caramel, cookies and cream. I can go on. And you get yourself 15% off if you're a new customer using the code FOUL at Huel.com/foul. Please see our description for the terms and conditions. Skip the stress, not the nutrition. Try Huel today for complete nutrition with the code FOUL at Huel.com/foul. Ken Rosenthal came out with his latest notes column. He has Fair Territory that's out right now. If you want to consume that podcast, YouTube, whatever, obviously just look up Fair Territory. But also we'll talk to him about this notes column tomorrow. Here's one that I want to dive into for a moment. The Athletics resolve to keep Mason Miller could be subject to change, sources telling Ken. A year ago, Miller was untouchable. To this point, the A's messaging this season is pretty much the same, but according to sources telling Ken, the team's plans, that stance is subject to change. The way the A's see it, only a few teams are bold enough to propose an offer worthy of consideration. Phillies, Dodgers, Yankees figure to be near the top of the suitors list for the flame-throwing reliever, while the Padres and Mariners can never be counted out when top talent becomes available. To me, this means we went from 0% chance to like 10 to 20% chance, but that still means that he went from unavailable to available. You want to entice them, he's now available. So this is not necessarily like their big closer they're going to build around.
How many years does he have left before everything?
Before free agency or
yeah.
Before free agency, he probably still has.
Is he going into R1 after this year?
I want to say, yeah. I think he's still on the league min. I'll get that for you in one sec. But probably 3 or 4 years left until he's, let's see,
once you find
earliest free agent year, 2030.
That's
and ARB eligible 26. Yep.
All right, perfect. Go after, if this is the case, whether it's 10, 12, 1, 2, 17, 85%, I don't care. This is where a team like the Orioles, per se, give 3 prospects for this big dog. You know,
the Orioles? Oh,
no, I'm just saying because they got it. If you have an opportunity to get a guy here for 4 or 5 years through arbitration, this guy is the most premier closer in baseball. He's filthy. I mean, Yankees, Phillies, Dodgers, yeah, of course, the big games are looking. Throw an extra guy in there. I've always said this, man. I've always talked about this. What's his name? For the Red Sox, the lefty they got from the White Sox. Pitcher.
Crochet.
They were killing me, the Boston fans. I said, give him 5 prospects. And they almost did. Actually, I was almost right. But at the same time,
4, right?
Yeah. Go ahead and go after a guy. These young guys you have down there, they're prospects for a reason. Give them to a team who thinks they can build them up and make them better. This is an opportunity to get a freaking monster play here, if it's the case.
Yeah, although the A's should eventually keep some guys.
Yeah, you keep them when you're ready to go to Vegas, right? I mean, the question is, when are they ever going to make a push? And I don't see it in his time. So why not get as many prospects as you can? When you look on the other way, right? You try to get 5 prospects for him that you can. Next thing you know, 3 of those 5 hit, and then you got a better ball club. But this guy's prime or his cheap years, you're probably not going to compete. So it's similar with what's going on with Skeens in Pittsburgh, man. you're just wasting away. And then, if you wait too long and you never compete, then you might not get anything for them. So get as much as you can, and then, go from there.